if he does win, let him win, rather than, you know, a hometown decision, if you like, or the fact that this show is built on Terrence Crawford. But I expect a fair fight, a fair decision. But sometimes when you represent a fighter, you have to get that message across, because they believe if all is fair and square on Saturday night, Israil Madrimov will be beating Terrence Crawford.
You think that's like a mistake though? Because, you know, everything's been cordial and stuff, and now you're starting to poke Terrence, which is kind of not maybe the best thing to do.
Terrence is Terrence. He's very, very level-headed. He's emotionally very stable. I don't think he's going to be bothered by that, but this is a really interesting fight. Really interesting fight, because, you know, up there today, I won't mention any names, but when you're up close and personal with a fighter, and you look at the pulse in the neck, or you look at the Adam's apple, you see a lot of people that are uncomfortable. When I look at Israil Madrimov, I just see ice running through his veins. And if he doesn't win on Saturday, it's because Terrence is better than him. But he will not wilt under the pressure. Yeah, he will not be intimidated. He will not perform on the night. You'll see the best Israil Madrimov on Saturday, and I believe he can do it. But he's up against a generational great in Terrence Crawford.
Eddie, from your perspective as his promoter, he obviously doesn't have anywhere near the professional experience of Crawford. What has prepared him for this moment? This is a stadium fight. Season's first show in the United States, in LA. What do you know about Madrimov that has prepared him for this big moment?
Talent, ability, you know, pedigree within the game. You know, don't forget 10 fights, but look at his amateur pedigree. You know, look at the time he spent in camp with Joel Diaz. Look at how he's relocated his life over the last 6 years. Look at the people he's been training with, sparring with. You know, the likes of Dimitri Bivol and those kind of guys. Like, there's no, you know, I can't sit here and tell you that Israil Madrimov's a favourite in this fight. He's not. He's a big underdog. And ideally, we would have liked another 2 fights. He just won the world title, and he's never boxed at the level of Terrence Crawford before. But when you go into a fight as an underdog, you have to have a horse in the race that has every chance of winning that race, and that's Israil Madrimov. If it was a guy that wasn't a huge puncher, if he didn't have great footwork, if he wasn't really smart and have a great ring IQ, if he weren't teak tough with a granite chin, yeah, I'd be more concerned. But I'm really excited for this fight, because you can just let this kid off the leash. Go on then, because since he turned pro and he's been with us, they've been dying. They wanted to fight for the world title in their 3rd fight. We couldn't get anyone to fight him, because he was knocking people out, and everyone knew in the gyms how good he was. So I never expected the jump to be the jump to Terrence Crawford, but it's here.
You mentioned a bunch of variables there, footwork, etc. Is there anything that you think he does better than Terrence Crawford in the ring?
I do think he punches harder than Terrence Crawford. Chin at 154, I guess we'll find out on Saturday, because he's going to land on Terrence Crawford. But Crawford's brilliant. Like, I can't, you know, I'd never knock him as a... and what I said up there about being... He should be an American superstar. Because look at the way he lives his life. Like, he's a proper, you know, gentleman, isn't he? You know, he's a great family man. You know, the way he brings his kids up, the competitive nature he has for the sport, the way that he lives his life needs to be commended. What is he, 34, 36? He's fresh as a daisy. Like, look how many fights was his 40 fights? Like, if you don't live your life like that, at his age, with that fight, you're done. Moving up the weight classes, you're just going to get knocked out. But he's brilliant, and, you know, he's a great example to young fighters.
So Eddie, everything that you just said, Eddie, what makes you feel like a guy with 10 fights can take on somebody as seasoned as Terrence? With everything that you just mentioned about Terrence?
Because he's very, very good. That's why. And I feel like, you know, Madrimov is a pound-for-pound fighter. I really do. You know, whether that comes in 14, 15, 16 fights or 10 fights on Saturday. But, you know, when you're an Uzbek fighter and you come over here and you're trying to make a name for yourself, it's very difficult to get the opportunities as the A side. So, what do you want to do? You want to roll the dice, don't you? Like, you know, as we say, Madrimov, one thing I tell you now, Madrimov's the best 154 pounder in the world, right now. Right? And I rate Virgil Ortiz. I think he beats Virgil Ortiz. Tim Tszyu, great fighter. I think he beats Tim Tszyu. In my opinion, this is the best 154 pounder in the world. But we'll see if Terrence Crawford's the best 154 pounder in the world. And I think if you ask Terrence Crawford who he thinks the best 154 pounder in the world is, he would say Israil Madrimov. In fact, I've heard him say it in multiple interviews.
Turning quickly to the undercard, Eddie, you've got history with Jarrell Miller. I think he stole the show of the press conference yet again. Has he earned another big fight potentially against Big Baby Anderson, regardless of what happens Saturday night?
Jared Anderson, Big Baby, wasn't happy with the press conference. He came up to me and there, he said, "Did you set those questions up?" I was like, "No, fucking hell. Well, I don't know, I get the blame for everything." I said, "But people love that, Jared. Oh, you know, bullshit, he's got nothing, I'm on another trajectory, blah, blah." I said, "Yeah, but Jared, you have to understand, people love this shit, right? In the hotel, up there, this is what makes big fights." And listen, I'm telling you now, if Jarrell Miller can beat Andy Ruiz on Saturday, and Jared Anderson can beat Martin Bakole, by the way, two massive fights, 50-50s.
Yeah.
I think more the 50-50 is the Bakole fight.
Yeah.
Jarrell Miller against Jared Anderson is huge. You imagine that fight for American boxing. Two massive heavyweights who can run their mouth off and talk to each other. We need that kind of stuff. You mustn't be afraid to feel offended, yeah, or disrespected in this sport. Just play the game and let the play, you know, let the theatre play out, you know. That's why I said to Jared Anderson, he came to me at the end of the week, "I heard what you said it's a 50-50 fight." I said, "Yeah, it is. I'm not going to lie to you." Yeah. Martin Bakole is a serious heavyweight. I think he might win. But as I said to Jared Anderson, if you win, I think you're the real deal.
Any truth that the UK heavyweight scene was really ducking Bakole based on the gym stories, based on what Tony Yoka and other fighters?
No, I mean, the reality is that Bakole lost to Michael Hunter, right? Questions over his desire in that fight. Very good in the gym. Countless rounds with AJ, some fantastic spars. You know, rumours is he dropped Usyk, he dropped Dubois, blah, 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 whatever. He may have. I mean, he's a big puncher. But if he's got the heart for it on Saturday, I'm telling you now, that is very... I have to admire the matchmaking. Terrible bit of matchmaking if you're looking after Jared Anderson. No one knows who Bakole is. When you guys know the sport, you think the public are watching this going, "Oh, it's Martin Bakole." They've never even heard of him. If he gets beat, it's a disaster. But if he gets the victory, he should get the credit. I hope people give him the credit because this is a brave bit of matchmaking and a big fight.
Eddie Chevy from Chevy's Red Corner. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. With the presence of Riyadh's season and coming in and changing a lot in boxing, do you feel that there are certain things that need to be changed, and how do we go about making those changes?
The changes are just to make great fights. You know, I think that's what people want. That's what people want to see, and you're seeing that now. You're seeing a lot of promoters coming together for Riyadh season, and you know, you're seeing a card like this with so many different promoters, so many different networks, and I think Riyadh season is bringing the best fights together.
Eddie, you have Shakur's here. You know, I know they've made those Javante Shakur rumors. You know that.
Yeah, like, I'll meet with him and his team this week. Great team, great people. Would love to work with him. I still think Zepeda is the fight to make, but we'll see.
4 Ferraris for Turkey. You know, with Tank. You
Sorry?
know? I mean, Tank said he wanted 2 Ferraris.
Yeah,
now maybe
sometimes not the best tactic.
Eddie, so when I saw you last in Philadelphia, we spoke about that. Oscar was saying Shakur cannot get Zepeda unless he signs with Golden Boy, and you responded. You know, it's been a month since that fight, or about a month. What's changed? What's going to allow Zepeda to now fight Shakur?
Well, maybe he wants to. You know, maybe he wants the money. And at that point, you have to say to your promoter, "I want that fight. I want that money." You know, with all due respect, whatever you don't like, this is what I want. The fighter is the boss. And fighters need to understand that. You tell your promoter what you want. Now, if they can deliver it or not, it might not be easy to deliver, but you have to tell your promoter what you want. If you want a shot at the world title, if you want a massive payday, you tell your promoter that I want to fight Shakur Stevenson. And Oscar, I'm sure, wants to make a big fight, and who knows what will happen.
Well, he did a clapback Thursdays. I don't know if you follow these. It's a new series he started.
It's amazing, yeah.
Where he said that he's not interested in that fight at all. But then Zepeda seems to be interested in that
Why
fight.
would you not be interested in that fight? I mean, he wants to fight for the world title. The kid, I'm sure, wants to make a lot of money. There's a lot of money in Shakur Stevenson against Zepeda. Just because you don't want to work with people, it's got nothing to do with you. I mean, it's so disrespectful to a fighter. That's like me saying to one of my fighters, "You're not having that fight because I don't like that. You know, I'm going to make the decisions." Fucking do that. The fight. I say to the fighter, "What do you want?" And the fighter says, "Now, if Zepeda don't want the fight, if Zepeda don't want the money, if Zepeda don't want a shot at the world title, that's his prerogative, but not the promoter. Do your job, respect the fighter, you work for the fighter." That's it.
Eddie, how does... I know you have a close relationship with Canelo. Obviously, he's facing, I believe, your fighter in Berlanga. How does a Berlanga beat Saul Canelo Alvarez?
You have to just stick it on him. You have to find a way to beat one of the pound-for-pound greats. Edgar, you know, I know there's a lot of people that wanted the Benavidez fight, that people talk down about the Berlanga fight. This is a real fight. He can fight. He's young, he's fresh, he punches very hard, he's got big balls, and he'll give you a great fight. You know, you have to hope that Canelo isn't quite his best anymore. Maybe there's too many miles on the clock. Maybe he didn't have the best training camp. Things have got to go your way, but Edgar will be a live dog in the fight, and he'll be doing everything he can to win.
I've asked Robert Garcia, I've asked Sean Porter, kind of give me a 1 to 10. What do they think Berlanga's chances, threat level is to Canelo? Robert Garcia said 1. Sean Porter just told me 2, 3. Just what's your response to that? And from 1 to 10, how big of a threat is Berlanga?
So you're telling me there's a chance?
Eddie,
How do you lose to Crawford in the darts? I mean,
Sorry?
How do you lose to
Because he's
Crawford?
good.
Explain the story.
He said to me, there's nothing you're better than me at other than talking, which we know, right? So I said that I thought the one thing I'd be safe at would be darts, right? I'm the chairman of the PDC. Darts is huge in the UK. He's from Omaha. I don't even know if they even play darts in Omaha. Anyway, it works out they do play darts in Omaha. But so does Terrence Crawford. And the footage will be out later today.
How bad was
It was pretty close, but you know, it was a strong victory.
last one.
Eddie. Bosey's here, Eddie, and
Yeah.
obviously he's here for Andy Cruz. But you know, it's Terrence Crawford. It's his fight. He's headlining. Could you anticipate them, or do you know if they've crossed paths? Have they spoken? Have they uttered a word to each other? Because obviously, Cruz wants to fight.
Yeah, I think Crawford's looking at Canelo and those big fights, but you know, I think if he can't get Canelo, I think he should fight Boots Ennis. But I don't believe he gets past Madrimov. We'll see on Saturday.
Last one for me, Eddie. You've got 2 fighters on this card, right? Madrimov and Cruz. Of the fighters that aren't signed to Matchroom, who are you most excited about seeing
David
Saturday
Morales.
night? Thank you very
Serious
much.
fight.
Eddie, I wanted to ask you with